2, 1.
Together with friends along the way, united with strength to face the day. We're together and now we're here to say, united we will be the change.
All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Above and Beyond the Accessibility and Inclusion podcast for Monday, July 24th. We are live back at our normal 5 p.m. time slot. And I see Maddy Dever has decorated the place so eloquently once again with the
Yes.
updates of the scores from the past weekend of our CFL teams. Maddy, before we get into our heartbreak, how are you? How's the weather?
Well, we're in the middle of a thunderstorm, and it being what it is, we with all of the major serious storms that have been around here, we may lose power, but you can keep going. you can just talk. Just make me a sock puppet. I agree, Maddie.
So if one of us is gone during this live, I'll continue on. Very good.
Well, actually, okay. So if you go, you can't continue on. I'd have to continue on for you. So yes, because you said if one of us goes, you'll continue on. That's not possible because if you're gone, you can't continue on.
I didn't say if. I didn't say if. I said if one of us goes. I didn't say if I go, I'll continue.
But it doesn't make sense. If you go and you're one of us, you can't continue on this live.
But I said if one of us goes, though. I didn't say me.
But it's only me. If I go, you continue on. There's only two of us.
Right.
There's only two of us here. Anyways, the weather has been a little bit balmy, but it looks like we're gonna have a really humid week. Not as hot, but it's just gonna have lots of thunderstorms and stuff, which I like as somebody who likes storms, but as somebody in a wheelchair, it's not fun. Today I went grocery shopping right before I came to do this, and I could see the storm. I could see it was just like these. The clouds were high. They were thick gray and different color gray. And I'm like, I think I have enough time to get to the grocery store back. I hope I'd have enough time. And I get on the way back. I get about 2/3 of the way. It starts tinkle, 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 tinkle. And I'm like, okay, I'm 5 blocks from home. Don't. You can burst the moment I get into the garage. And then it's tinkle, 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 tinkle. And I finally get to the street, like my street, or I turned off on. It's like drip, 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 drip. And I get into the garage, I close it down, it's like yes. And so I made it with only a few little drip, drip, dribbles on. But that's I think the week that I have ahead. So I like to go out every day. Even in the rain, I'm going to go out. I don't go out as far generally unless I absolutely have to. But I've promised myself that every day that I can go out, I will, so that I'm outside. So if it's really raining hard, I can get to the pub or the Max Milk, which is like a block away. Because I find I need to get out of this room. I love the way I've set up my office now. I've got a nice chair that's in a reclining position. I have 3 monitors here in front of me. I have my calendar over here. I have got my mail over here, and I've got the other mail that I'm looking at, which is you, here in front of me. So I'm very, very happy that I have more space to do things, but I still need to get out of the house. So yeah.
Yeah. So Maddy, I feel like we talk about this very often, and I kind of feel like there's a need to bring it up again. You're a busy person. I'm a busy person. I rely on, and I didn't shut off my phone, so excuse me, folks.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the same thing.
I rely on, paratransit, accessible transit to get me from point A to point B. And let me tell you guys, I've experienced late rides. I've experienced a lot of disrespect towards my independence, disrespect to who I am as a human being. But never have I ever been disrespected to the point where, and I don't want to name names or name any situations, but the driver picking me up was to drive me to a local mall. And the local mall and my street do have the same name. Driver gets to the mall to drop me off. Guess who ain't in the vehicle? Yeah. Ha. Lost in transportation, really. Lost in transportation, right? You had that all set up there, didn't you? There you go. Yeah, and it just begs the question: what kind of training are people getting when it comes to performing the duties of a service operator? Yeah, it's something that I question all the time. Like, what they're getting 2 weeks training, and they have a GPS on the vehicle, but I will say this from experiences: the GPSs that they are provided aren't nowhere near adequate or accurate. So it's troublesome to say the least. So that's my long, short-winded rant about darts today. Other than the just typical late rise, typical disrespect, but yeah, there was a Challenger baseball fun event happening this past Sunday, yesterday. Not yet, Maddie. We're not closing the show just yet.
My finger slipped. It was right beside the. Yeah.
We're not closing the show just yet.
Together.
So we.
Well, you wanted to end early today, so I figured,
Right. We got to give the people what they want.
Exactly.
A little bit more Maddie and Anthony here. So they had a Challenger baseball event happening this past weekend, Sunday, and that was a great event. Like I can't be more proud of than in the way that the city of Hamilton is going. We always say, that it's you got to keep progressing, you got to keep moving, you got to keep positive, you got to keep changing the culture towards what we can do as a community, and Hamilton is really going for it, and I applaud that, and I appreciate that, notwithstanding the fact that in other areas there's still a lot more work to be done, but we're seeing some much needed change on the Hamilton Mountain as well. So I want to give kudos to the Challenger Baseball Association and the team in Ward 7 for helping make some changes within the parks that we have on the mountain. What about you, Maddie? What's going on in Carlton Place?
Well, actually, this Saturday, we're having our annual downtown fest, Bridge Fest. I forget the name of it. We've had different names over the years. But we spent most of the last year with our main bridge being reconstructed, so it was down, and our main street, the downtown, we decided, since it was going to be a curtail with traffic anyways, let's do all the resurfacing, let's do all the upgrades, widening certain things. One of the things last year that was really great is by doing this, they raised the sidewalks up so that it was level and accessible for about 8 or 9 more stores than were. So it just opened up a lot more places. So so last year we didn't have any events downtown. So this year we're doing this, and we're also on. We have a movie in the park. We have fireworks all happening. So it's gonna be a fun day. I'll be around, and I'm gonna talk to a lot of people about accessibility because that's what I do, and it's what people ask me about. Yes, everybody knows money.
Yeah,
good or bad.
Oh yeah, you have to expect the pushback, but
Yeah.
you're strong enough, just like I am, to push back when you get the perception of the lack of accessibility and what it
Yeah.
tends to hinder our communities. And so when it comes to accessibility, Maddie, within the events that you were just speaking about, what do you think a lot of the events that you're going to be attending this weekend, are they going to be more accessible, or like are some going to be accessible? What is
Well,
your perception on the accessibility for the weekend then?
yeah, that's going to be an interesting issue, and that's what I want to. That's why I participate, and because I'm hoping that things will be accessible, and if they aren't, I'll be there to say, hey, this is what we could do to make it accessible. This is what we could do to make it accessible. I mean, we do have an accessibility committee in this town, but seeing how some things are still done without thinking through accessibility. We just had a lot of our parks redone, and some of them weren't really accessible to begin with, but they've been made even more inaccessible with anybody that has wheels. So it could be parents with strollers, it could be people with walkers, it could be bikes, it could be wheelchairs. And I've been trying to get them to see that, like, that they think they've got progress, and they're being, yes, a little bit more environmentally friendly, but they're not taking into account people with mobility issues. It's a running battle. I think several of the counselors get it, but I uh, I don't think the town staff gets it. Some do, some don't. I just, because I've been pushing and battling things for a few years now, and I mean, in the winter, this carbon place is just not, it's not accessible in the winter. I still do it. I have to move around about, but it's just the meeting minimum standards is what I keep hearing in the wintertime. Summer and fall, spring, it's getting better, but I look at they have. I'm looking at things that have happened in the last 5-6 years. We had a new main park that had a big play structure. It has a skateboard park, and then it has a little stage. The stage isn't accessible. The bathrooms at the back of the stage are. The stage, there's no way to get to it with a wheelchair. And I'm like, why? And 3 years ago, they built a water splash pad. Sidewalk halfway to it. No, didn't continue the sidewalk to the area. So how are people, like? Yeah. Anyways, so I'm hoping that there will be a lot of things this Saturday that will be accessible. But I have to keep in mind that 2/3 of the downtown businesses aren't accessible right now. So I'm hoping that when they move things onto the street, that they'll put things in such a way that they're not going to block the sidewalks if I need to get into things that are not on the street. I learned that with the Pride, going to the Pride Parade in Toronto. There was a lot of accessibility, and then there was absolutely stupid things that blocked accessibility and had me to maybe need to go blocks away to get back to where if I wanted to see a particular place. So my role is to enjoy myself, to participate where I can and identify where I can't. There will be counselors. There will be the mayor. I will have conversations with each of them. I plan to be there all day long, and probably get sunburned because, yeah. Can't hear you.
You would think I'd know how to do this by now. You would. That begs the question: what do we have to do to? And I don't want to use the word convince, but how do we to get the point across when it comes to accessibility and how much it matters to everybody? What is our sticking point that we need to get unstuck from to get to what we need to get to do?
I think that honestly, I wanted to give each of the counselors, for example, drive in my wheelchair an hour in this town. Just, get in and out. Like, do the things that you would normally do. You got an hour. Here's my wheelchair. And I swear that people will start realizing their worldview is limited.
Okay. So you're pro simulations then. Like you're pro, you're pro simulations. Because I know there's been that pushback in Hamilton with regards to simulations being kind of a derogatory way of getting a point across, because those who are being part of the simulation are only doing it temporarily and then can navigate once time is up.
I'd love people to live a month on ODSP salary. That's benefits like that. That's the kind of thing that I think needs a longer term thing. An hour in a wheelchair, though, you start realizing if you're a counselor or if you're a city clerk, you start realizing that some of the assumptions you make about your infrastructure, they're very road based and they're different when you're in a wheelchair. I mean, I'd say manual wheelchair, power wheelchair. Just I think just some people just need their eyes open because they can't. The experience that we have is so massively different than the experience an able person has. Your perspective, you're like, we see things. I mean, okay, we're talking right now about mobility disabilities, and there are so many other disabilities, hidden disabilities, neurodivergent challenges. But right now, we're talking about where the rubber meets the road.
Literally.
Literally. We see things at a lower level. Our whole world is at a lower level. And the world is designed around, cars, which are higher up, and pedestrians, which are much taller. And so what you visually see is different. And then it's the experience of the environment, of the barriers. I think it's. I agree with the idea of we shouldn't have to go to this, but it is a big enough difference that I think that they can't fathom it. They don't have the I don't think they have the ability to sort of get at what we're saying unless they've had the opportunity to sit in our seats for a brief amount of time. I think it's just enough. And I think that once we do that, we unlock the ability for them to. We at least we can start sharing a dialogue because we have, we've a shared place,
shared experience. Yeah. And it's the infrastructure, Maddie. As you know, in Hamilton, is far from desirable, if we're being honest. And it's an opportunity to.
Really, you think?
Oh, we'll see sometimes, but yeah. So, and in saying that, we need much important change to ensure that safety.
Yeah.
To ensure safety first and foremost of our of all our citizens. I'll revert back to the June 10th dip that I had because of an improper curb cut. And the attempt to fix it was a Band-Aid solution. That's not okay.
No,
that's not okay.
Yeah, this is what we get. When we're not listened to, we hit the fails, and the fails just minimum standards. It's the curb. See, we have such issues with curb cuts, but I cannot believe that they're actually meeting minimum standards. I
nowhere close.
I cannot fathom a world where these curb cuts that are half the width of our butts.
Oh, that's an image I didn't want. No.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah, it was pretty cheeky. I thought I would just crack you up.
Yeah, you want to be a smart ass, huh?
Absolutely. It's keister time. But as we were saying, the curb cuts, like
No more butts, Maddie. Just get on with it.
All right. I'll shake my leg. Um, my daughter and I had a conversation about. I told her that she gave me a list of all the things she wanted me to get for meals and snacks, and like there's this pile of stuff, and I said, there's a lot of crap on this list, and she said, well, it's not all crap. I said, okay, so there's the use of the word crap or insert anything else. Like we have something can be crap and be awful, and something can be be just a whole load of crap can be just a lot of stuff. Some crap can be good, some crap can be bad, and we just ended up this long conversation about this and about variations of expressions. We're weird. English is weird, and I love it.
Absolutely.
But as we were saying, the curb cuts, like in the last month, I've been in Montreal, Ottawa, Toronto, Hamilton, and a bunch of smaller places in between. And oh my God, I mean, Toronto is not as bad, but when it's bad, it's really bad.
Absolutely.
where the point where I did not see, I saw a pedestrian line and I went down, and to the right of me, if I had gone that way, it would have been fine. But I was like trying to go in the middle of it. It's like, oh my God, it's like a 6 or 8 thing. So I went down, and of course, I slide and forcing people around me, and it's like it just threw me because I wasn't expecting a wide sidewalk crosswalk to only have a very tiny curb cut, and I had to, because that one was so bad, I had to like really go up to every curb, look, make sure I could get down off it, and then proceed. And it was nerve-wracking after. Montreal was mostly not bad. I have found that Montreal it is way more pedestrian friendly than Toronto. Hamilton, it's not the curb cuts; it's all the damn sidewalk infrastructure. It's just bad, and the closer you are to the downtown, the crappier it is. Yeah. I'm sure there's too many of us in wheelchairs taking one for the team.
I took one for the team last month. Yeah. So you know what?
Still not helping the Ticats win, though.
Oh, he's going there. Going there still. Okay.
Oh yeah.
We'll talk about the game happening next Friday soon enough, friend.
Woohoo.
Soon enough, friend. Yeah, I guess I just wonder, where do we go from here? Like, how do we just continue to be strong voices like we are?
Yeah,
and be partners for change.
We know that there's organizations, there's cities and towns that are really starting to think of it. We just need to. I mean, the way I do my advocacy is when I hit one of these stupid, crappy. Yeah, I do have to. I really should send all my comments about my Toronto experience, because mostly good, then horribly bad. I have to send that to someplace. But I think the way I approach things is, if I see a problem, I'm going to raise it and the solution to whoever is responsible for this. This is the reason why I'm going on Saturday. As much as I want to enjoy things, I am going there with the lens of accessibility, and I will, as I go through the day, comment on our different Facebook pages about what I'm experiencing. And I'm going to talk to the politicians that are there saying, hey, how do we start thinking about inclusion first? because I don't see it happening. But it wouldn't be big. It wouldn't be huge to do. So it really, for me, it's not letting things just happen, right?
Mhm.
I have a voice. I know how to talk to systems, and I've seen change happen at times when I've done that. It's harder for me to fight the systems and the places that I go, but where I am, that's I get frustrated because I say I love my town, but my town makes it very hard for me to live here. Um,
Ye-
so I'm gonna keep the conversation going. I'm gonna try to keep building relationships. And if it doesn't, like if it gets to the point where living here is just way too difficult, down the road, I'll look at other options. I don't want to do that. I want to see this place grow. Um, and
And you want to be part of the solution.
yeah, I do.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
that's really where it starts. Identifying problems and then asking others to go fix it.
yeah,
Whereas you and I, Maddie, identify problems, provide solutions, and work with others to try to fix the problem.
yeah,
Some things get more expeditiously looked after. Others, there's no care in the world, aka accessible transit. But I'm not getting back onto that rant again because we already been there, done that, got the t-shirt, didn't fit. But I think the
yeah,
fact that it's a systemic problem, and I think the problems lie in and of itself that the fact that we always say that in order for an organization to treat its customers with respect and dignity, they've got to treat their employees first and foremost
yeah,
with respect and dignity. And I think there's a broken chain when it comes down to that because there's this perception of disability as a liability rather than an asset, and then they're doing a quote unquote good service nature by just accomplishing that task.
yeah.
You took darts a couple weeks ago, and you
Well,
didn't have a
yeah,
bad experience we talked about, but
yeah. In that experience, it was reasonably close to the time we needed it. It got us in and settled in and buckled in reasonable amount of time. It got us to the place. Like it was a good experience. Um, it's kind of made me feel like they were trying to do things on their best behavior. But it was good. I was gonna say something, but it escaped me. I think that it's it's an attitude problem before it's anything else, and we we need to to root out this minimum standards bullshit that we hear so often, because as humans we should be trying to you know push for the best possible service. But if you're aiming for the minimum standards, you're barely going to get there. And the real needs, and we have, I look at it all the time. Every time an accessible feature fails, the priority to fix it is one of the lowest that exists. And I keep wondering how the world would work if every time an accessible feature failed, the abled uh, uh, thing that's like it would fail to. Button fails, door doesn't open. The accessible buses aren't available. Regular buses aren't available either. If people understood the amount of, it's way more than inconvenience. It's the lack of dignity, the lack of access, the lack of being able to express our right to be mobile, to go places, our right of access to things. I if they lost that access, like I know every time something goes down and able-bodied people can't use something, the uproar is immense and things get fixed pretty damn quick. But it's just not the same, and we need to we need to fight the attitude, and I think we do that by relationships. I can't hear you again.
And
That's
you know
two
who's
times
okay.
today. That's two
That's
times
it's
today.
been a
You're a
day, it's been a
two-timer.
weekend. And you know who's okay with minimum standards, Maddie?
People that don't want
So
to do
those
any
without
more, they
disabilities.
absolutely have to.
Absolutely. And those without disabilities, because they can navigate an inaccessible world, whereas people with disabilities find it challenging to navigate in an accessible world.
Yeah.
And furthermore, it lends itself to the fact that the perception of people with disabilities are the problem.
Yeah.
And that's the stereotype and the stigma that needs to change, when as a matter of fact, it is the community and the society that is unwelcoming of those with disabilities. We are still in Disability Pride Month, Maddie. Ironically, we still have another live next Monday to go to
Wrap
really
it up.
close up Disability Pride. And I started Disability Pride Month by saying, I don't hate my disability. And I'm going to wrap it up on next week live with my full disclosure on not hating my disability. So look forward to that, and I think it's going to be a very, very telling thing. What else, Maddie? What's going on with you this week?
Well, you know what? Let's talk about what's going on with you this week. Bum, 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 bum. Woohoo.
Oh, what is going on with me? Oh my God, I don't even know anymore. So we've got our Facebook Live happening right now, actually, and and Above and Beyond is in its repeats for the summer. But Thursday, let's talk about Thursday. We have a forward movement painting party in collaboration with Councillor Mike Spadafora in Ward 14, where we are painting the dynamic symbol of access that should be at Shadok Twin Pad Arena, not area. And I was hoping you would have got the fixed graphic, but anyway. So we are at the accessible parking spots at the upper level. So come and join us at 10 a.m. On Thursday. So that's going to be exciting. I'm hearing there's going to be thunderstorms, and I'm hoping it's going to change by Thursday, because I've heard both.
So you got the rain date on here for Friday.
We got the rain date for Friday, but we don't want to use the rain date. We don't want to use the rain date because we want to get it done, and we want to have a good time on Thursday. Yeah, I mean, that's what's going on here. Like, I mean,
I'm taking advantage of the slow summer to get a lot of behind the scenes stuff done, getting ready for the fall.
Don't get ready for a fall, Maddie. We don't want a fall from you.
For the next week, I'm actually giving a talk, which I'll talk more about in detail next week. It's on what I wish I knew as a teen. So it's myself and another autistic. We're going to share, like, hey, this is the things that challenge us as teens, and I think that autistic teens need to know this. So parents and providers, whatnot, need to think about these things as they have autistic youth in their care. And the whole transitioning to teen to adult, what a scary time. Ugh. So I'm doing that next Wednesday, and through the Echo Ontario Autism program. So I'll share links next week, next Monday. Also, we're doing that actually. We're doing a test run of that same presentation the night before to a bunch of autistics that are in their early 20s and stuff. So we're going to get a chance to trial it out before there.
Yeah, I mean, it's shaping up to be a great week, and looking forward to to doing the forward movement event. I apologize. My goodness. So that's happening on Thursday. Ticats and Red Blacks have a
Yes.
rematch
Yeah.
on
We'll see.
Friday.
We will see if we can see now that we'll have the quarterback for the full games. He's won the two that he's opened. He has won, and he got us to an inch of a touchdown and a tie game 3 weeks ago. So it'll be interesting, but regardless of the score, we'll have a good time ribbing each other about it after on Monday.
We sure we will. And the Ticats will hopefully have our starting quarterback back, Bo Levi Mitchell, practice today, which is a good sign. But the fact that we lost that game over the weekend, I'm just that one was a hard pill to swallow.
That wasn't a loss. That was a blowout.
Okay, words from the peanut gallery. Okay, I see how it is. Yeah, that wasn't our best performance, but you know what? we've got a game this Friday, and
every game's a new game. Every day is a new game.
Can I do it? I've always wanted to do this, Maddie. So I'm gonna do it. I'm calling it right now. Ticats guaranteed win night. I'm doing it, Maddie.
So I obviously have to counter guaranteed Red Blacks thing. So we'll see whose guarantee will come true. Yeah,
you have to follow through, but
I feel that it's going to be Ottawa dominating the field, but it'll be a close game.
I certainly think it's going to be a close game as well, but I do think the Ticats will come up with the victory.
We'll claw their ways out.
By any means necessary, whatever works, I'll take it.
All right.
So, Maddie, this is fun again as always. I'm gonna get you to hit that graphic up for me so I can. There we go.
Yay.
So, if you guys like what you're hearing and seeing, and if you guys have any topics that you'd like us to discuss, send us an email at aboveandbeyondthepodcast@gmail.com. You can reach out to us individually at aboveandbeyond.Frisina on Facebook, at abovebeyond4you on Twitter, or X, or whatever they call it now, at Anthony_Frisina on Twitter or X, at Matt J. Dever on Twitter or X, AutisticRambler.com, AnthonyFrisina.ca. We are here typically every Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for your listening and viewing pleasure. Thanks to Gareth LaJoie, Tanya DeHaan, Nick Hurst, and Tyrell Crawford for the theme song to Above and Beyond. And that's it, guys. Thanks for joining. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching us. Maddie, hit the music.
All right.
Together